Exit tower, right in the middle of the Amazon website.
Okay, that makes no sense.
To the boat. Ah! Is that a piranha? No. It's not a piranha, they're long and thin. They're not. Eventually, the boat dumped the 3 worst bankers in history on a bank in the middle of nowhere and left. No, when you got a little that is my belt of anything. What? Thank God for that. If we get hungry, we'll be able to eat his pork. Since we didn't know what to do, we do cat shit. I'm sure there's spiders in it. There will be. Shh. I have one as well. Yeah. Did yours ever? No. And. Eventually, even Indiana Clarkson was on board. So we could get to long answers. Set rap. We in the night, but we have found people. Rather embarrassingly, Janie Ashton discovered we in the night. If you get in here, Hammond, and grab the other end of this.
This is still iCarly, but it's grown up now.
Who's ready to get
This is mystery stuff, so.
What's up, Mama?
iCarly, now streaming on Paramount.
Now streaming on your.
I obviously love Lost Media.
Yeah.
The mystery, the hunt, the history, and the friends we make along the way. But ultimately, the goal is to find them, and I don't feel like I give them enough attention when they are. Because not only is it satisfying to look back at what's been accomplished, but these pieces of found, lost media can give us insight on how others might be found, and show us that no matter how lost something is, there's always a chance. These are just some of my favorites that have been found, and there are so many more. So let me know your favorites in the comments or on Twitter at Lost Media Mike. So here are 10 pieces of found Lost Media.
Ooh.
Ready and steady. In the early 90s, music historian Joel Whitburn, as part of Record Research Inc., set out to collect the vinyl for every single song to ever land on Billboard's Bubbling Under the Hot 100 chart. Whitburn would track down every last record, with the exception of one. The 1979 track, Ready and Steady. The song appeared on Billboard magazine's charts for 3 weeks. On June 16th, charting at 106, moving up to 103 the next week on June 23rd, and peaking at 102 on June 30th, 1979. Though the track was obviously a moderate success, there seems to be no evidence that the song was real, or evidence of a band called DA in the 70s. He did some digging and found the song was issued by the label Rascal. He found that a record label with the same name had posted an ad in a Detroit punk magazine, and he was able to track down the record label's headquarters, finding a vacated, boarded-up home. Whitburn came up with some theories. Looking at the Detroit punk scene, he discovered the Chicago-based punk band called DA, but their first release wasn't until 1981, and when contacted, they said the song wasn't theirs. By 2005, Whitburn had come to the conclusion that after years of searching, the song might not exist. Noting in his book, Bubbling Under the Hot 100, the existence of this record and artist is in question. And by his 2009 book, Top Pop Singles, the song was completely excluded. When the 2010s rolled around, Whitburn started to admit that it might just be a copyright trap or a misprint. But through his research, members of Record Research Inc. continued the search, and in 2016, Paul Haney discovered the song was registered for trademark with the United States Copyright Office in 1986, with a creation date of 1979, credited to D.A. Lucchesi and Jim Franks. Paul immediately contacted Jim Franks, who was able to shed some light on the mystery. He admitted the song was never pressed onto vinyl or released in any form. The Rascal label only existed on paper, owned by a relative of one of the band members who had released singles independently. And apparently, the band was approached by a record producer with ties to a major label, and somehow he snuck the song onto the charts, not once, but for 3 weeks.
Wow.
Making Ready and Steady the only song to ever land on a Billboard chart without a commercial release. And Jim Franks had a copy of the song. And maybe for the first time ever, the song was played on the radio on July 8th, 2016, on the Crap from the Past radio show. But it turns out the band's namesake, Dennis Armand, D.A. Lucchesi, died in 2005.
Aww.
The mortgage broker and part-time musician never got to see his music become a phenomenon.
Wow, that sucks.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lord. You can't triple stamp a double stamp.
Excuse me.
Dumb and Dumber, 2 foot of butt crack. Let's get one thing straight. Dumb and Dumber should have swept the Academy Awards. Man, screw Forrest Gump. You're telling me this Life is like a box of chocolates is better than this.
I've never seen Dumber Dumber, never seen Forrest Gump, because that's something I've never been to. Don't change
I
it.
can't argue that The Lion King deserved to win Best Original Song, but you know what should have been nominated? The brief but classic Dumb and Dumber track, 2 Foot O Butt Crack.
I don't watch Dumber Dumber, never seen Dumber Dumber, never seen half the shit they're talking about. No offense, guys, I have never seen Dumb and Dumber.
Circle the Wagon, but the band doesn't seem to exist, and the rest of the song couldn't be found anywhere. It was later discovered that the song was sung by actor Bruce Greenwood, who in a 2009 interview on The Hour told how the song came to be in the movie. Before Dumb and Dumber was even in progress, Greenwood's friend Billy Goodrum wrote the song and brought on Bruce to play guitar and sing on the track. Years later, Goodrum called up saying that the two would be paid $2,500 each if the song could be used in Dumb and Dumber, and he of course agreed. It was basically free money at this point. Watching the movie, he heard the song and was excited to see his name in the credits, but instead the track was credited to Circle the Wagon. At this time, Greenwood hadn't quite made it as an actor. At the time, he was very disappointed that the song was misattributed. It was long believed that the only copy of the song was in the possession of New Line Cinema, but seemingly out of nowhere, an edited version of the song was posted on YouTube in early 2015 that was discovered by the song's author, Billy Goodrum, who after realized it was being sought after, posted the full track on YouTube on December 2nd, 2015, closing the 20-year search on the would-be Grammy, Academy, Peabody winner, 2 Foot O Butt Crack.
Okay, that's pretty
Passion
interesting.
of Joan of Arc. The 1928 silent movie, The Passion of Joan of Arc, is the stuff of Hollywood legend. From the movie's experimental for the time use of close-ups and creative cinematography, to the incredibly nuanced performance of the titular character and the reportedly abusive methods the director used to get it out of her, the work has gone on to inspire generations of actors and filmmakers. The movie, helmed by Danish-born director Carl Theodor Dreyer, tells of the historical final days of Joan of Arc, her trial, and infamous execution at the hands of the British. Starring stage actress Renee Jean Falconetti, in one of only 2 film roles she would ever take. But because Joan of Arc had just recently become officially canonized as a saint, French nationalists were uneasy with a Danish filmmaker telling the story of such a revered national hero. And this sentiment was seemingly shared with the Archbishop of Paris, who along with the British government, censored the movie without the director's knowledge to avoid offending the Catholic Church. Possibly because of these edits, the movie was a financial failure, and because it was censored immediately after release, very few copies of the complete film were ever made. And the year the movie was released, a vault fire destroyed the original film negatives. Dreyer was obviously heartbroken and was able to cobble together a new version using alternate takes, but this version was of much lower quality, and even it eventually became a rarity. By the end of his life in 1968, Dreyer really believed that his magnum opus would be left forever incomplete. But as fate would have it, the film would be discovered in the most unusual place. In 1981, an employee at the Dykmart Mental Institution in Oslo, Norway, discovered film canisters in a janitor's closet, labeled The Passion of Joan of Arc. These canisters were sent to the Norwegian Film Institute, where they would sit for 3 years, assuming to be just another cut of the censored version. But when they were finally examined,
What are you guys
they
doing?
realized they might have in their hands the single last copy of The Passions of Joan of Arc to have survived the church and government censorship. And one of the craziest things about this discovery is there is no record of the movie ever being shipped to Oslo. The best guess historians have is that the former director of the Dykmart Institute was a friend of Dreyer's and was personally given a copy of the film. In 1985, the movie was finally restored, and one of cinema's masterpieces was once again complete. Garage: Bad Dream Adventure. Garage: Bad Dream Adventures is a point-and-click horror game developed and directed by surrealist artist Tomomi Yuki Sakuba. Sakuba used his experience as a surreal artist to create a highly unsettling, bizarre game world that proved to be a unique combination of a skilled artist and an amateur programmer. Sakuba was inspired by the 1990 game Cosmic Osmo that he found out was made using the free Mac program HyperCard. After making a handful of games in the program, he assembled a small team, and in 1995 marked the development of the game with the formation of its official website, where Sakuba would regularly post about the game's progress. When it was released in 1999, only 3,000 copies were made before the publisher stopped producing CD-ROM games. And digital downloads weren't a given like they are today, so these 3,000 copies were about it. And in 2004, 90 copies were sold on Sakuba's website, and it was briefly available in 2007 when it was officially discontinued and the game fell into obscurity. It wasn't until 2013 when 4chan got wind of the rare game that the search officially began with the goal of archiving and making the game available.
That game's scary as hell.
They immediately found that the game was for sale online, but ridiculously expensive, upwards of 300,000 yen, or $2,600. Too much for the community to crowdsource at the time. Eventually, they were able to track down an owner of the rare game, but because of the strict copyright laws in Japan, they feared legal repercussions if they dumped the game online. And let's be honest, it was 4chan, so they were probably lying. But the fear of legal issues isn't...
That game's crazy as F. What time is it, guys, huh? It's not even 2 o'clock yet. I don't have to feed. It's only 1. I'm not feeding you guys yet. I'm not feeding the cats yet. I'm watching this crazy shit. It's just scaring me a little bit. So scary I had to put it on a smaller screen because it was scaring me. There's a neighbor.
Even the game's developer, who had a copy of the title, refused to release it online because he no longer had the rights to the game. But as the search continued, one user did produce gameplay, and the search team eventually tracked down 2 trailers for the title, which is pretty remarkable, a game with 3,000 copies made, even having any kind of marketing. And after about a year of searching, in 2014, they found Garage Bad Dream Adventure for sale on Yahoo Auctions Japan. They crowdsourced the funds, shipped the game across the world to navigate any potential legal issues, and dumped it online, along with scans of the game's disc, manual, box, case inlay, and game map, making this delightfully strange game available for anyone to experience.
Yeah, still in the United States, scan the US. It's a smart idea.
We're gonna go up your lab.
Dexter's Laboratory, Rude Removal. This 1997 episode of Dexter's Laboratory was my introduction to Lost Media, the first time I'd ever heard the term. In the episode, Dee Dee and Dexter are split into 2 versions of themselves, a rude and polite version. The polite versions are pleasant and proper, but their rude variants are crass and would constantly swear. Cartoon Network obviously intended to censor the swearing for comedic effect, kind of like the SpongeBob episode Sailor Mouth did later. But Cartoon Network got cold feet and decided against airing the episode, though completely finished. Despite its cancellation, the episode was never destroyed or even covered up, even being screened at various conventions in the 90s, some even claiming that the swearing was uncensored in these screenings. The episode eventually became the stuff of legend, being written off as fake, and let's be honest, an episode of the kids' cartoon with uncensored F-bombs sounds like a pretty standard urban legend. It wasn't until 2010 when Fred Siebert, the former president of Hanna-Barbera, confirmed the episode did in fact exist. The episode gained mainstream attention when in a 2012 Reddit AMA with Dexter's Laboratory creator Jendi Tartakovsky, he talked about the legendary episode. The AMA was wildly successful, and the question of the lost episode attracted the attention of the adult animation division of Cartoon Network, Adult Swim. Noticing the near mythological qualities of the episode, they began airing bumpers hinting at and building hype that they would release the episode. Their efforts worked, and tweets about the episode received overwhelming response. Adult Swim even toyed with the hype, asking viewers to remind Jeff to release the episode with the hashtag #TellJeff. A week passed, and nothing came of it. People started claiming that the whole thing was a hoax. But Adult Swim responded with a screen grab of the episode's title card, giving the first official look at Rude Removal. And this glimpse set the internet on fire. Dexter mooning and Dee Dee flipping the bird in an official episode of a long-lost kids show. The next day, on January 22nd, 2013, Adult Swim posted the episode as it would have appeared on Cartoon Network 16 years prior, with the swearing censored. Everyone cheered, but wanted more. They wanted it uncensored. It wasn't until 2017 when animator Craig McCracken confirmed on Twitter that the episode was recorded uncensored, but doesn't know if Cartoon Network or Adult Swim have the uncensored version. Fans took it into their own hands to add their own audio to uncensor the episode. Some of them are pretty convincing, and I was honestly fooled a couple times. And even though we have Rude Removal as Cartoon Network originally envisioned it, the complete, uncensored episode is still missing.
Okay. This is stupid, stupid. Who wants to buy a Volkswagen? Not me.
Time is not enough. We've got to fight.
Don't care.
Diddy Kong Racing Adventure. Diddy Kong Racing was a major
Not
part
watching
of my
it. I'm done watching
childhood
this
and a
stuff.
staple of the Nintendo 64. So
Okay, you know what? I'm done playing that crap. Let's put something else on, shall we?